Hi, this is Len Edgerly. Welcome to the Kindle Chronicles. Today is Friday, November 20th. We are in Sanibel, Florida, after a 5-day drive from Cambridge. So part of this show is going to be an account of our trip and different aspects of it. I'll start you out with a bit of audio that Darlene and I recorded at the very beginning of the trip, sitting in our driveway in the Tesla, a week ago or so. No, it would be a week ago tomorrow. And then that'll be followed by a recording that we did last night as we looked back on the trip. After that, I will have some news to talk to you about, and this will be the first show from Sanibel, and we'll be here until April 1st. I hope you enjoy the show and the ride down from Cambridge. Today is Saturday, November 14th, 2020. We are sitting in the driveway. The car is all packed up. I have 2 passengers.
We're going to do this!
Let's see. We were planning to leave at 8. It is now 9:22.
But we did it.
We did it. We got
it's
food.
It's amazing what we have done.
We don't have to have any human contact the whole way down.
Yeah.
And we're headed to Delaware tonight. We're going to charge up in Darien. Did you bring your Kindle?
I have no idea. Maybe somewhere.
There are a few things we tried to get in the car that we're just going to order from Amazon when we get down there.
Yep.
And
one is an Instapot.
Oh, yeah,
and the second is my
table for quilts. I know. I had to leave some. I did take my full-size Yamaha guitar, though. Oh, and we have a refrigerator.
Huh? Oh, you got it.
Yeah, we're recording on your phone. So we might have some updates as we go along, and this will be for next week's show. So hopefully next week's show will emanate from the island of Sanibel in Florida, a haven in the Corona storm.
Oh, we sure hope so.
We hope so.
We hope Vice President Pence stays away.
Oh, he's welcome on Sanibel. Everybody's welcome on Sanibel.
Mm-hmm.
What, you have your mask?
I have about a zillion masks. I have every kind of mask, 3-ply, 4-ply.
All right,
several different.
I got my lobster mask from Maine.
Several different cloth kinds.
All right. Well, bless our trip. Thank you for all the work you did.
Thank you for all the work you did.
We got a new tire on the car. We did all kinds of stuff that needed to be done.
And thank you for all the people that helped to make this possible.
I know. Well, it's sort of fall, and when we get back, it'll be spring. We're missing a season.
That'd be nice.
Yeah. Okay. More later. You will hear a slightly more subdued mood in the following audio, about a half-hour conversation that Darlene and I recorded at the dining room table here in Sanibel last night, which was Thursday night, November 19th. So the question is, who were those chirpy people in their Tesla about to leave on a 1,500-mile drive?
Yeah.
Do you know them?
No.
We're here in Sanibel. It's Thursday, and we're just going to talk about the trip, since I don't have another guest, and you're my favorite guest anyway. Mm-hmm. I've arranged a few topics that we can talk about.
Good.
It's toward the end of a long day, Thursday in Sanibel, our first full day here, because we got in yesterday afternoon. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the trip first, because I think if it hadn't been for COVID and Jerry Riddle saying pretty risky to go to an airport, take a plane, I would have never succeeded in talking you into driving for 5 days in the Tesla to get here. So how did the reality of that compare with what you had been pretty fearful of or resistant to before the COVID?
I would say overall it was a very big surprise. I mean, there were nobody in most of the hotels, which I loved, and the staff wore masks. The only exception to that was Savannah, which kind of freaked me out because people on the streets did not wear masks. Yeah. And people in the hotel did not wear masks. And And there were people in the hotel.
Guests in the hotel.
Yeah, guests. The staff wore masks.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a much more of a sense of we're just going about business as normal, and that I found really unsettling.
Yeah.
It didn't feel safe. So I guess
Savannah was kind of the worst of it, wasn't it?
Right, that's what I mean. That was the only place that it was like that. Every place else, we hardly saw anyone else, so it was really great.
Yeah, and the people we did see were wearing masks, both the guests and the staff.
We never saw many guests, but staff was definitely wearing masks.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a surprise. The Tesla drives like a dream, and it drives for you. And once you get comfortable trusting it, which sometimes I was better at than others, it really will just change lanes and take you from A to B. You just kind of sit there and keep your hand on the wheel and pray that you're not going to hit that semi that feels like it's an inch away from you.
The algorithm is going to succeed.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I mean, all in all, I think it was a fun trip. I have to say, we had a really good time. It wasn't without risk, but it was fun.
Well, and you prepared well because we had food that we could eat in the car. I'm sure I gained a little weight eating trail mix and crackers. And then we had food in the refrigerator, which we plugged into the sort of 12-volt or cigarette light or whatever voltage that is. And that kept the food pretty cool, didn't it?
Right, yes. And we didn't get the connecting part that we needed to bring it into the hotel.
Right.
So that was a little bit of a drag because some of the hotel fridges didn't work that well. So at some point we threw out a bunch of the meat and stuff because I was afraid it just had not been properly kept cold. But for the most part, it worked really well.
Yeah. We didn't eat in any restaurants along the way.
No. We did at Savannah, remember? Oh, that was so cool.
Which one?
So we were supposed to go to Starbucks and just pick up something on the counter.
Yeah.
And we were down in this cool little tourist area.
Oh, right.
And there was a mix-up. That place was that Starbucks was closed.
Yeah, I got a refund.
And so you found this little coffee place which had fabulous. I had avocado toast. It was so gourmet.
And we had a little round table on the sidewalk, so we were outside.
Yes, it was wonderful.
That's right. That was the only place we ate.
Yeah.
And that's when we saw that Savannah really is a pretty city. I mean, all those hanging moss
fabulous.
trees. And, that had a nice feel.
Yeah, I mean, I really want to go back and spend time there, but not when it's COVID.
Right.
And that's when I noticed that the people that looked like professionals that were walking down the street, because we were early in the morning, way before the stores opened, they had masks on. But the people who appeared to be tourists did not have masks on, which was really unsettling.
Yeah.
Because I thought, why? Anyway, don't get me started.
Well, now in the traffic, we sort of lucked out because by waiting a day from when I first thought we were leaving, Sophie is scratching inside her tent.
She does this. It's like she's nesting.
She's
and then
nesting.
She'll turn around and go to sleep in a minute.
We'll talk about Sophie later. But it turned out to be a great plan to leave on a Saturday because we drove through New York City pretty far away from Manhattan because we were on the Tappan Zee Bridge because your friend Marie had suggested that. It's now the Mario Cuomo Bridge. Cruised across that and got to Newark, Delaware that night. And then the next day, we sort of cruised through D.C. and we were actually pretty close because we could see the Capitol and the Washington Monument.
And the Pentagon.
And I think we drove right by the Pentagon. That was
really cool. And there was not much traffic, but that is when we really appreciated Tess because it was a little hairy just in all the roads coming together and stuff. And Tess would be driving along and she would be changing lanes and changing highways and we'd be going, where's she going now? What's she doing? I think she's going to change lanes.
It's like Lassie. She's trying to, what are you telling us, girl? Well, I remember one time driving along, maybe that was when I'm sort of dozing, and you're talking to Tess. You're saying, like, where are you going now? Why are you doing that? You're talking to the car.
I felt a need to communicate with her.
Right. Stay on her good side.
That's right. Trying to figure out what she's trying to do, so if I don't like it, I can preempt.
Yeah.
But, that was when I really saw the value of her, because there were some there were some tricky things going on there.
And you think you're just going to drive 95 all the way down, but actually you take a 685 or
295 or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, you're winding around from highway to highway. And
when you set it on Navigate on autopilot, she makes those transitions between superhighways, and she merges, she slows down at the exit, not quite as much as you wish she would. And if any
of you listening are in terror, that is how I felt.
Why?
Because to be letting a car going 65 miles an hour making these decisions when you have other cars around you, taking exits and making turns and going off ramps and on ramps and all this, it is really freaking nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
But I
wasn't sure how good she was at merging, but there was one place where we were on the main highway and somebody was coming in from our right.
Yeah.
And I could see that it was going to be sort of a battle for position, and she slowed down to let the person go in front of us. And it was almost like there was sort of a human reaction, like, well, somebody's got to give here and it's going to be me.
But then there was another time that somebody darted.
Well, that's right.
And they darted in from the side, and it wasn't on her scope, and we had to take control.
I mean, we don't know what she would have come up with, but there was no time to tell.
And that brings us to another point. What? There were the weavers. And then there were the darters. And then there were the crowders.
The crowders.
Every day brought a new kind of driver.
That's right. We categorized them. He's a weaver.
Look out! He's a weaver.
Obvious weaver. Well, when it's a semi that's a weaver, it really makes you nervous.
And that's always twice. It was a semi that was a weaver, and that was very nerve-wracking.
Exactly.
Anyway, but we got a lot of laughs out of that.
How about our experience with the charging stations?
That was really fun because at the charging station was my time to run around with Sophie. I had a long rope that I could put on her collar or on the end of her leash, and we would just run around all over the place, and I would get her as wore out as I could possibly do. I didn't have the beach, but at least I had that, and then she would just lay in my lap and sleep. So...
And we'd had trouble before because she would throw up in the car. It seemed like she had motion sickness, and you had a pill.
Oh, and the pill gave her diarrhea. Right. And we so poor Sophie, she had kind of a tough trip. But today we took her in the car for an hour, and usually within 10 minutes she'd be throwing up with no pill. No motion sickness medication, and she did not throw up.
Just slept. She thought,
she said,
here we go again. 4 hours in the car.
She just laid down in my lap and went to sleep. And
we were driving over to Fort Myers to get bikes for our stay.
Right.
Yeah.
So no more pills.
Right.
But thank God for medication.
And we liked Courtyard Marriott because in general, at least in the first part of the trip, they'd have a first floor room with a door right out to a grassy area.
Yeah, sliding glass door to a courtyard.
Middle of the night, you just get up and you were able to go out with her. Mm-hmm. But in Savannah, we thought we'd gotten a room like that. It didn't have a door. All it had was a window, which I managed to get open. I don't think it had been open in 20 years, but I got it open. And it wasn't too far to the ground, so I could lower Sophie on her leash in her harness. Yeah. And just drop her down, not too far. And she did her business looking a little confused, and then bring her right back up.
The poor thing had diarrhea, so she had to go out so many times. And oh, my goodness.
Well, she didn't have diarrhea that night.
Yep, she did.
Really? Not when I
3 times you took her down in one night. That's very unusual
she was
for
just
a dog.
Peeing. It wasn't.
There was action, dear.
Oh, really? I might have been half asleep. I was proud of myself for that.
Yes, you did a really good job.
Pro tip, don't do this if you don't have a first floor room.
And if your dog doesn't have a harness.
Yeah, she weighs more than 5 pounds.
Exactly.
Well, now this brings up a delicate subject of the human bathroom strategy. Let's just say that we succeeded in never stopping at a public restroom.
That's right. We were going to make a list of all the places.
You're probably on camera in some fairly revealing poses. There was one KFC by a dumpster in American.
Oh, I can't believe we did that. But we were so desperate to not go into public restrooms. And we would try to just, stop as few times as possible.
I drive by them and I see all these cars out there. So, are you people crazy?
You just can't do it. We just can't do it. So, but mostly it was in the trees and things that. Sometimes charging stations you could find a spot because they were sort of in kind of remote areas.
Yeah, there'd be some shrubs next to the generator or something. I'd sort of find my way in there. Looked like I was studying the labels on the generator. Really, officer? I'm just a Tesla podcaster here.
That's when it really pays to be a guy.
Yeah, it's definitely an advantage to be a guy.
But anyway, that's just all part of the adventure.
Yeah. And, and we've both felt a little punky today, I think.
Oh, yeah, I don't feel worse.
And so you have this fear that even though we were that careful, I mean, there was one woman that brought us an order at McDonald's, and she was just right next to the window and handing it to us. And I basically waved her off and said, please put it on the ground. And I don't know how long it takes for somebody who gets too close to you to give it to you.
I know. In one Starbucks, we were going through, and I touched the woman's hand. She was handing me out coffees and stuff. And I mean, it just sounds silly, but any teeny little encounter you have, you think, oh my God, this is enough to give it to me.
Right.
And we had our hand washing stuff.
And we had good masks. I mean, I didn't use that mask you made in Maine with the lobsters on it. So I think that was good.
Yeah, we had good masks. So all in all, I mean, but it still was really good to get here and have our own restroom and
right. Oh, boy.
Our own refrigerator and bed. And it was great.
I think there were some really sweet times I liked some of the driving times when the Tess was going smoothly and there isn't much traffic. Like some of that stretch from through the North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia. It's just like trees. It's just an interstate going through these tall trees and it's sunny and there isn't much traffic and I could be driving in that situation or as a passenger with Sophie on my lap. Mm-hmm. It was just like bliss. It was just like, I can't believe I'm this lucky to be able to travel this way safely in the midst of a pandemic. And
every day got warmer. It was so great.
Right. And maybe the days got I wasn't clear
They got a little longer, I think.
Yeah.
A little more sunlight, probably.
Right. It's a slow, I mean, when you think of if we had gotten on a plane in Boston and flown nonstop to Fort Myers, what's that, 3 hours?
Yeah, 4
you leave in the morning, you're here that afternoon. We took 5 days. And there's no time changes, you're just. But I think I realized how long the trip was when we finally got here because I felt disoriented yesterday. I just sat out there on the lanai, sitting in the chair after we finally got here. I don't know, feeling grateful that we didn't have any accidents or any trouble, and a little bit of in shock after having survived something. I'm 70. It's. You have your doubts as to how sharp you are on an adventure like that. So when you get there, it's just, I don't know, it's strong feelings. Yeah,
and I think we were just trying to be so positive the whole way when we got here and we got the first load of groceries. And then today we ended up, spend a lot of time ordering things and going to Fort Myers and getting the used bikes. And, I just feel exhausted and my stomach hurts and I'm just praying I don't have COVID.
Yeah.
But my sister comes tomorrow and that's a whole other thing because she's coming from Nebraska where, what did they say? If you put 100 people in Nebraska together, one of them's got COVID and she's flying. So, so we're all we're preparing to quarantine with her and hope that she doesn't have it and that we don't get it. Do
you think the three of us are all wearing masks here in the unit?
I don't know.
You haven't talked to her about it?
No.
I don't know what to, it feels extreme, but maybe like the first day or two. Maybe we just wear them until it doesn't seem to make sense to wear them.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll just have to see. I sort of feel like we're in the same bubble and there's no way to live in a
And she's been careful. I mean, she's not going out to bars.
It's the plane. I mean, she's been really careful until she gets on that plane tomorrow.
Yeah.
When she gets on that plane, she's...
But from what I've read, the plane itself is not as unsafe as maybe a lot of people worry. And one tip that we read an article was turn on the vent over your head, wear something warm, because that's bringing air in that has been treated.
And she's wearing the best mask. You know, there was a thing that came out with what are the best masks, and we got the number one best mask and sent it to her, and she's got her face shield that I think she's going to wear with it.
And she's flying Southwest, right?
And she's flying Southwest.
So there's probably an empty seat in the middle.
And yes, and also because she can't pick her seat, she's going to, if they load from the front, she's going to go all the way to the back so that she's around less people.
Oh.
And then, they'll...
That's smart.
Yeah, they'll exit from the front, so then she'll let all those people go out.
Plane may have a lot of empty seats.
Yeah, she's hoping to...
But she does have to change in St. Louis.
Yeah, she does have to change.
But the trick is just avoid any place where people are gathering.
Right, but she still has to stand in line and get on the plane and all that. So and then she's got a baggage claim, and so she's going to try to let everybody else get their bags and stay back. And,
but when she gets here, there's going to be a new trike for her to ride. Trails. We got a nice, what's it called? A sun trike, I think.
Yeah, and it's got a really great basket so we can go get groceries eventually.
Got beach cruisers. I got an old beach cruiser for $75. You got a little newer one.
Yeah.
So we're going to be riding in style here.
Yeah. Well, we're going to be riding at least.
Well, and we're here 4 months, so it just didn't make sense to rent. And hopefully there'll be a sale on these things on Craigslist when we go.
Yeah, it's going to be great. And we set out on the lanai, and we had our appetizers, and I made soup. So we had a bowl of soup, and we have this favorite place. Well, all three of us, you and I and Deb, at Maho Bay, which no longer exists. It was on St. John's. Mm-hmm. And when you're sitting out in the lanai, it's like you're in a treehouse, and you feel just like you're in St. John's.
Yeah, that's true.
So
part of it's the road in front is not paved.
Right.
That gives it sort of a Caribbean feel.
Yeah. And you're sitting back off the road. You're sitting in the trees, and you
can hear the trees
up
rustling.
On the second floor.
Yeah.
Nothing's on the first floor here. And
it's a simple little bungalow. I mean, it's got 2 units. So when Deb gets here at the end of the month, she'll have hers because she does a lot of work on the phone. We'll have this place here with 2 bedrooms, and
but each one's only 600 square feet.
Right.
And then it has the lanai in the front.
Yeah, and then kind of a little boardwalk between the units. So
right.
It's an unusual design. Unfortunately, it's under contract, so it doesn't look like there's going to be a chance to buy it if we're in a position to.
But you never know. If we're supposed to get it, it may just happen.
That's right.
I love it.
We also found out that there's a problem with the roof on this one that made itself evident in the last hurricane or storm. So there are going to be people building a roof here.
Patching.
Well. And
then some water came in, so they're going to be doing a little bit of painting
in here, yeah.
And Len hates to have workmen around.
Crazy with workmen around.
They freak him out.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but they do.
It's like we survived the construction project in Cambridge. We're going to come down to this quiet little vacation here, and the first news is, Mac, we got to work on the roof. There's going to be a few guys here. We're not really sure when, but we'll be working on it. Anyway, I mustn't have learned that lesson yet. I have to learn it again.
The realtor was through with painters and construction guys, and it was pretty shocking. But it's all going to work out. It's all going to work out. Maybe we're going to meet these guys and make great contacts, and maybe we will just end up buying a little piece of land and building a house, and these will be the people that build it.
They'll build the roof for us.
I don't know. Weirder things have happened.
Fiction writer?
Weirder things have happened. We can build our own duplex just exactly the way we want.
Right. Well, this we're going to be here 4 months till April 1st in 3 different houses. And I like thinking about what we're going to learn from Sanibel. I hope to meet that woman who wrote a Sanibel-based murder mystery where in this current one there's a woman whose body is found in the beach where she was shelling and she'd been hit on the head with a conch shell. That was the murder weapon was some conch shell.
Sounds like a deep book.
Yeah, it's not major literature, but she moved down here from New York or something, and I think she's got 6 books of the Sanibel murder mysteries.
Not the woman who was murdered with a conch shell, but the author.
Yeah. No, the author who murdered her. So I'd love to talk to her and find out what she thinks about Sanibel. Sure. The other thing I have a sense that, and I think this is from one of the times we were here before, I think that a lot of New Englanders have ended up coming to Sanibel. In fact, my friend Bill Holmes, his mother, came here when she was young, from Boston. And so when we were putting our order in at Bailey's, which is the main grocery store on the island, I ordered baked beans because I love baked beans. And, you can't get a decent can of baked beans at Whole Foods in Cambridge. I mean, there's no brands. And this place had 10 different kinds of baked beans. They had B&M baked beans, Bush baked beans, baked beans with bacon and brown sugar. And I thought, this place has definitely got a lot of New Englanders that are coming down, and they want their baked beans. So I'm feeling at home already.
Well, that's great.
It's passed the baked bean test.
Wow. There you have it.
And the other thing I like about it, it is an island. There's a bridge that comes over it, but it has that island feel. The full-time population is, I think, 3,000 or 4,000. It sort of doubles up to 7,000 seasonally. And half of it is nature reserve, including this big Ding Darling Reserve, which we went through one time. And in the 70s, when they became incorporated, they put a limit on high-rise construction. And there isn't anything taller than 2 stories unless it had been built before that. And I think maybe some of those condos must be older. But anyway, they took a really proactive stance to keep this from becoming like so much of the Florida coastline, just high-rise after high-rise after high-rise. And, I think it has. And the other thing that's weird about it is they've got some kind of a fetish. There's no traffic lights on Sanibel.
That's right.
And so this big intersection, you come off the Causeway Bridge, and there's like a traffic cop,
yep.
There was a young woman directing it when we came over today, and that gives it sort of a
small town feel.
Small town feel, yeah. What do you like about it?
I love the sun.
Yeah.
I love the beach.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I like that it feels so safe, and I'm perfectly happy to go back to Andy of Mayberry time. This sort of feels like it to me.
Except for the murders.
Well, that's only in the book. So.
What about the shells? I mean, apparently this is one of the most unusual shell places in the country.
Yeah, it's going to have fabulous shells. It does, but it also doesn't have powdery sand because there's so many shells.
Right.
That it's
a little crunchy.
It's a little crunchy. Yeah. I don't know how Sophie's going to feel about it. We haven't been to the beach yet.
I know.
So.
Well, when we got here yesterday, I knew it was going to help ground me if I actually got into the water. It was blowing a gale. Sophie. Okay.
Oh, grab her. Just a second.
Yeah, just grab her.
Oh, I know.
Sophie, we're editing you out of this.
Hi.
She's heard our neighbor, who also has a dog. It's okay, Sophie.
They're barking at you, too.
Yeah. So I did walk the 10 minutes to the beach, and in my bathing suit, and I just kind of jumped in to a wave, and compared with Maine ocean temperature in, say, August, anything up over 70, people say, oh, wow, the water's so warm and the whole beach is in swimming. St. John, it's pretty routinely in the 80s, and I know what that feels like bath water. And this felt like halfway in between. It was warmer than Maine, cooler than St. John. And I think on a day when it isn't blowing a gale like it was yesterday, I might actually get some long-distance swimming in. So...
Yeah, at this point, we got a phone call from Deb Darlene's sister, and I had a clumsy response to it because I was so committed to keeping the interview going. I'm going to leave this in, lest you think that all of our conversations are, Ozzie and Harriet. Reality comes in with the sound of a single phone call, and then afterward, I'll finish up we had couple of
topics toward the end. So we're getting close, and a little bit of slice of life here in Sanibel, waiting for Deb. And that's our fellow traveler. Deb is calling. I think we'll wind this up then. Okay.
Okay, see what she has to say. I couldn't figure why this is wet. Did she pee somewhere?
Oh, I don't know. Okay.
Okay, talk to Deb. Did you turn it on?
Yeah, no, I said no.
Well, damn it, Lynn.
Okay.
You ask her to call you and then...
All right, call her back.
You are so rude sometimes.
I'm sorry.
Yep, it's okay. You can't help who you are.
I can't now.
What is the water all over? Did she pee some?
Hello. How are you?
How are you?
We confirmed Deb's travel plans. She arrives at 1 o'clock, which is 3 hours from now. Time to charge up the Tesla and meet her at the airport. After we get off the phone with Deb, we return to the topic of my swim on the first evening that we got here. And Darlene was expressing some concern about the safety of doing that.
My response, oh, you mean about you being shark bait?
Yeah. Not shark bait. They have a few lazy hammerhead sharks that never come this close in because it's shallow.
So you should never swim at dawn or dusk because that's when things are feeding.
I just jumped in quickly at dusk yesterday. I didn't swim,
it's fine.
to Naples.
Everyone has a...
Okay, so it's okay to swim during the day as long as it's not dawn or dusk?
I don't know. Unless they have, what are those things called? Jellyfish.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about jellyfish.
I don't want jellyfish.
Yeah, jellyfish are bad. So you'll have to find out more
But
about
I've decided
that.
I won't swim unless you're out there, so that'll be good. Right?
It's up to you.
You have an iPhone. You can call the authorities if I...
What, to get your body?
I'm not liking the way this conversation's going.
Honey, I can't say...
I mean, you guys could get murdered out there shelling. Read the book, Get hit by a conch. You could get conked.
It's true. I think we better call this again. We're kind of tired.
We're reaching the funny hour.
We are tired.
I think our first full day of Sanibel is done, and it's been a good one.
So this is my only last thing that I want to bring up is that I love this place, and I'm so sad to find it's under contract. And when that realtor said, did we want to be the backup buyer, I don't know. People might have some response about that they could tell us about what the backup buyer is.
No, backup offer.
Oh, backup offer.
She wanted to have an offer to keep them honest, and if they start saying, oh, you have to fix this, she wants to say, these people just came down from Boston, and they have given a backup offer. So I think it would help her position. Oh. And we told her that we have a realtor, Mary Bondurant, who has been so helpful to us for a year. We're not about to sort of
throw her under the bus.
But we're getting a feeling for how cutthroat real estate is on Sanibel, because this woman, I think she saw the Massachusetts place and she says, oh, you're looking for buying a house? She was ready to grab us off the plate.
She was. Yeah, she's kind of pushy.
Yeah.
But anyway, I still really, really like this place. It reminds me of being at Maho, and I could...
But I think there's probably other places. Well, it doesn't have the duplex side, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, the duplex is really cool. It's just, it's like you have your two little tents right next to each other, and you're up in a tree house. And
our new best friend realtor said, well, I have a lot that's right near the water, and you could build your duplex.
It's true.
I said, I've done my last building project. Well, I think it's time to wrap this up. You're looking a little tired. You've had a long day.
I am.
First day in a new place is always a little stressful. And any final thoughts about the trip or Sanibel?
We're lucky ducks.
We're lucky ducks, we are.
I know. The temperature's beautiful. The sunshine's wonderful. The company's not bad. I think all in all, it's a good place.
Yeah, I agree. Well, and you're a good traveling companion. I have to say that. Between the two of us, we have half a brain on the road when we need it.
And that's all we have.
Yeah, we have to use it wisely.
That's true. Okay, goodbye.
I've been talking with Darlene, a famous quilter and real estate consultant on Sanibel Island.
That's right.
Thanks, Darlene.
Soon to be the new owner of the whatever this place is.
Yeah. How do you make a backup offer? You back up and offer. Thank you. Well, that was fun. And a couple of addenda that I'll pass along. This morning, neither one of us seem to have any symptoms that feel like COVID, so I think that our disorientation yesterday after the long drive was probably the result of, it was the cause of things which made us wonder. But so far, so good. No COVID, we hope. And on this issue of the backup offer, I did talk to Mary Bondurant, our realtor, and told her about the encounter with the other realtor and the possibility of a backup offer. If we did something at this point, it would have to be contingent on the sale of the Denver property. And Mary said that the other realtor said, well, forget it. If we have a backup offer, it can't have any contingencies like that, so it would be worthless to even entertain it at this point. So she said, well, keep us in mind if the deal falls through, and depending on the situation that Len and Darlene are in, we might be interested. So no backup offer in the works. The other thing, Mary said, this idea of buying a lot here and then building a duplex, she said you wouldn't be able to get it approved. She said, I've had people, that have all kinds of money and resources say we want to build something that's multifamily, and the zoning officials or board or whatever handles this in Sanibel just says absolutely not, forget it, it doesn't matter. There's no path toward adding multifamily dwellings on most of the island. So the effort to control this environment and this community seems to be still something which affects what people can do, even with a small parcel of land which might be available for purchase. So we will be looking at houses, waiting to see what happens in Denver. I think we'll probably be focusing on unpaved streets that remind us of Maho Bay, and we've got our bicycles. We can maybe just ride our bikes around and look at houses with Mary and see. It's a learning process, it'll please me to think we'll see 20 or 30 places before we find a place that might really suit our needs and all three of us fall in love with it. But until then, beautiful sunny day, cold up in Massachusetts, I hear, and we're starting to feel pretty well established, and can't wait to see Deb later this afternoon at the South Florida International Airport. I was going to talk to you about the big news, which is that Amazon has entered the pharmacy business with prescription drugs. And I think to stay on track here, I'll save that for next week. Next week, I'm going to be talking with James McQuiviey, so that'll be a real chance to get his perspective on what kind of a strategic move is it for Amazon to get into the prescription drugs business. I did notice that if you're a Prime member, you get 2-day free delivery, and if you don't have insurance, you get some kind of a break. So Amazon's actually helping people buy prescription drugs in addition to just the convenience of it. So obviously this is a pretty big move on the part of the company, and one which will be of great interest. So we'll talk about that next week. And I've also started reading the new book that has writings of Jeff Bezos that's with an introduction by Walter Isaacson, who famously did a biography of Steve Jobs. Very insightful profile of Jeff Bezos in this lengthy introduction, which I started reading last night. So that's an interesting book, and may have more to say about that later. There we are. I'm in a little corner of the bedroom, which has pretty good acoustics except for the air conditioning that just kicked in, and it's nice talking to you here from Florida, and all of the months in Maine and some time in Cambridge. Memory puts that in a place which is comfortable, and now we're just focusing on each day here and feeling so blessed, so fortunate to be able to spend time together and with Deb and Sophie in the sunshine, and with the opportunity to kind of learn a new place that may become an important part of our rhythm through the year. Thanks very much for listening. This is Len Edgerly for the Kindle Chronicles on Sanibel Island in Florida.